Hi everyone, I'm excited today. I have Jason, and as you guys have been following me with this podcast, you would know that Jason comes on to the episodes quite a bit and he shares his expert knowledge with us. Today, he's going to share his expert knowledge on habits. We might have touched about this a little bit in the past, but today it's going to be specifically for the entrepreneurial parents. Hi Jason, how are you doing?
Hey, Joy, I'm doing good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous, thank you. Thank you so much on coming on. Let me try it again. Thank you so much for coming on board today to talk about habits for the entrepreneurial parents. As you know, and I explained to you, I have created a season 7 dedicated to the entrepreneurial parents. That comes with a workbook. And in this episode, I would like to just dive in deeper about what is a habit, how does habit, how does it get informed and all of those beautiful things behind the scenes. All right, so
Cool.
let me go straight into the details. So what exactly is a habit, Jason? How can people, okay, now, before I go to the next question, just first do the first one. What exactly is a habit?
Well, I guess simply put, habits are the actions that we take on a daily basis that are usually repetitive in some way, shape, or form, that either drive us towards our goals or drive us away from our goals. And this, Joy, could be either in business, personally,
Mm-hmm.
professionally, with our children, with just the outside world around us.
Yeah. Okay, so can you give me an example of a really terrible habit to have as an entrepreneurial parent?
I would say one of the worst habits that you could have just as an entrepreneur in general, never mind as a parent, or that's hard enough, but one of the worst habits that you can have is not really taking the time in the beginning of the day to think about what you're thankful for and thinking about your day ahead, as well as at night, and not really reflecting in the evening on the day that you just had and thinking about what brought you toward your goals and
Mm-hmm.
what pushed you away from your goals and how you're going to make these little changes for the following day. That's one of the worst habits that you could have, is not doing that.
So I would assume to have a really good habit is to do exactly that, right?
Do exactly that is first and foremost probably the best habit that you can get into the habit of doing.
Okay, that's awesome.
100%.
That's a really good tip. Okay, so why do you think habits is so important for us? Except like we talked now, obviously, that's what you need. But what really, as a human being, why is habits important for us?
Well, if you took a look at your day right now and how your day is laid out,
Yeah.
I would say that probably for 98% of us, our day falls in line with how our day went yesterday and the day before and the day before that. We are very much people that look to get into a routine,
Mm-hmm.
and we follow that routine day in and day out. Now, what is it that makes us fall into this routine? It's our habits. Our habits create our routines. The question is, are your habits terrible on a
Yeah.
daily basis, or do you have a lot of good habits that bring you towards your goals? It's hugely important.
I love the way that you explained it. I think that is so, so important. All right, so how do we start creating? Because I've heard this saying so many times, it takes 21 days to create a habit. Okay, I heard this every other day. So is this true? Does it take only 21 days to create a habit?
I would say, and I've definitely heard that before as well. I would say you can create a habit in much less time. You
Ooh.
just have to understand the consequences of the habit that you're creating. And what I mean by that is, if I'm in the midst of creating a bad habit, what is the consequences of me fulfilling that bad habit? What does that look like for myself? What does it look like for my family? What does it look like for the most important things that are around me? At the same time, if I am trying to build a good habit to bring me towards my goals,
Yeah.
and be a better person, if you know the consequences of that habit that you're creating, if you know the consequences of a good habit and how important that is to you, you'll create it much faster. If you can feel it here in your heart, the consequences of your habit, you'll create it much faster or break it depending on what you need to do. I feel that's been my experience.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you can actually create a habit within a habit for yourself, because you can create a habit of having a good conscience about that habit.
You can definitely create a habit within yourself that takes a look at and really gets granular with understanding the decisions that you're making for yourself on a daily basis and how that decision will blow up and affect 10, 15 days or 5 years down the road. Getting in the habit of really looking at your decision making process, especially in business, is a great habit to have because you are looking at it from all angles and not just making quick decisions off the cuff that could have dire consequences 2 days from now.
That is very true, actually. Okay, so what is the first step? So say I am an entrepreneurial parent and I have my children around me every day and I'm trying to start a business, or maybe I already have a business and I'm really struggling and I'm overwhelmed every day because I'm not sure how to get through this day because probably I have shitty habits. Let's be blunt. So what is the very first step that I have to take as an entrepreneurial parent to create a good habit? What is the very first step that I have to take?
Start the day.
Okay.
Take action.
Okay. So
if you're committed to this, it is time to start to show up. Get up in the morning, nice and early, get things done, and get your day started. Now, what your day looks like from there and how you organize it, that's probably for you in another show. I'm helping people how to do that. But getting up and starting that day is a huge habit. If you have the habit of not showing up and that's your habit, I can tell you what that's going to look like in 7 days, 5 years, 10 years. Show up. First and foremost, take action.
So how do you create that habit for yourself every day? Is it doing the same thing every day at the same time, or so how does that look like?
Well, for that habit in particular, let's talk about why is it important for you to show up? Why does it matter? You got kids? Well, I guess we're here talking about that, aren't we? Look at your kids. What if you don't show up? What does that mean for them?
Okay.
How does that look like? How does that look like in their lives? What are you showing them by not showing up? You want all these good things for your kids and your family. Not showing up is exactly how you won't get there every single time. Look at the consequences of these habits that you're taking. Understand them. Realize them. Internalize them. Write them down.
So if you say, internalize them, write them down, is that a process that you have to do every single day for the next, say, argument's sake, 21 days or 10 days or 7 days? Is that really how you form that habit? Is really, I guess, be aware of that habit, or set that intention for that habit, and then writing it down, etc. Is that a good way to start forming good habits?
Don't forget, when we're creating new habits, we're changing our story, right? So if your story right now to the outside world is, I usually don't show up and I'm lazy. And that's how the people around you are seeing you, because that's the story you're telling them. It's time to change the story, right? How do we change the story? We tell a different one. Well, how do we tell a different one? We tell it every single day. We internalize it. And so that's probably where the 21 days things come from. If I want to get into the habit of throwing this water bottle at the wall every single day, after 21 days of doing it at the same time, I'm probably just going to do it anyway. But why the hell do I want to throw that? Where's my internalization of the habit? Where's my story behind it? Why do I just want to throw it? Or is there something really important behind it? Once you get the importance and you're doing that habit every single day, and as you're doing this new habit, you're thinking about the importance of it over and over and over again, it's gonna stick real quick if it's important.
So you really have to figure out why this habit is so important for you and then stick with that process of writing it down every single day.
Nothing's going to become a habit to you unless it means something important to you.
Yeah.
Unless it's a bad habit and it's based on being lazy and fearful, those habits are easy to get into.
Oh, yeah.
Of
Because your
course.
brain's way of warning you against everything, and it's
Oh yeah, walk away. You know, that's the story I tell. I'm afraid of everything. I hide under the bed all day. That's easy.
well, as entrepreneurial parents, if you want to be an entrepreneurial parent or you already have a business, that's not the way to go. This show is about setting you up for success. Okay, so in general, I want to keep this short because I just want to share the golden nuggets with the audience. So we've dived into what is a habit, why do we need habits as human beings, and then obviously how do you create a habit. Is there anything else that you can add to this, Jace, that can help the audience?
As far as habits are concerned, so now we understand, we understand what a habit is.
Mm-hmm.
We understand what makes a good habit stick.
Yes.
Right, the internalization part.
Mm-hmm.
We don't necessarily need 21 days. We just have to have a real good internalization of what we want the habit to be, and we have to understand the consequences of either A, doing that habit, or B, not doing that habit. The next big part of this is figuring out what habits you have that need to either be broken, that need to be created, or needed to be expanded upon. One of those three things, with all the habits that you have today, they fall under one of those three tiers. And so now we talk about what type of business are we in, the things that need to get done. And we will start to see, especially with your help, this is what you do. We'll start to see very clearly what habits do I have that are conducive for this story that I want to tell, this new life I want to have. So get an understanding of your business, and then you'll get an understanding, or someone to help you with it, Joy, and then you'll get an understanding of the habits that you need to start. And it's easy.
Let's just quickly, I like the fact that you say we have to break a bad habit. Now, this is something I break bad habits by implementing healthy habits or good habits, or good habits, not healthy habits. So that's what I do. Do you have another way of breaking a bad habit?
Yeah, internalizing, why is it bad?
Okay.
What is that habit doing for me? And B, the thing here with the internalization parts when we're talking about habits is being real with yourself.
Honest.
When we're talking about habits, don't lie to yourself. If you've been lying to yourself about your habits and telling that story to the people around you, and you wonder why everyone laughs at you and you say, I'm going to start this new business, it's because it's the story you've been telling. I tell the story of I'm going to start something new and never finish it.
Yep.
If you've been telling that story for a long time, don't be surprised when somebody already knows it and you don't have to read it to them. You know what I mean? And so, as with breaking a habit or creating a habit, internalize the importance of it. Absolutely hugely important. Was that the question?
Yeah, no, you're 100% on. No, this is beautiful because I've been breaking bad habits. Like, for example, what I would do personally, because I've been on this health journey for quite a while. Jace, how long I've been on this, and sometimes you fall over the bandwagon and sometimes you climb back on again. And for the last 60 days, I've been quite consistent because I am taking a bad habit and I'm turning it into a good habit. Like, for example, I'm saying to myself, well, if I'm used to eating maybe, which I don't actually do, but like, say, for example, I eat a slice of toast for breakfast, I would say, okay, well, I'm not having toast, I'm having a smoothie instead, for example. That's a weird example because I don't actually eat bread ever, but that's what I would do, or for example, at lunchtime, I would just sit on my phone. Instead of doing that, I would go for a walk, just taking a really bad habit and turning it into a good habit. So you still do this thing you're supposed to do, but you just replace it with something that is better for you. That's what I've been doing.
I like that. And I also, because that's the, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. I love that. But you can also, something small you can start doing today. I mean, here's an example of a habit that you can get into, that will absolutely change your life immediately if you start doing it.
Yeah.
And this is the habit of remembering people's names, especially in conversations. When you get into the habit of, when I meet somebody new, hello, my name is, when they say it, their name, say it to yourself in your head 3 times: Jennifer, Jennifer, Jennifer. That way, as you are going through the conversation, you will much easily, it will be much easier for you to be able to recall that person's name just doing that little trick right when you meet them.
That's a great
And
hack.
when you remember people's names, it's, one of the top 3 things that people like to hear the most in their lives is their name. It's just a thing that people like to hear. It shows that you care and you're paying attention, and that's just a small thing that will get you very far in life. Remembering people's names. Start doing that today. Train your brain for that one. That's a good one.
I like that. That's awesome. Thank you, Jace. I think we'll leave everybody with that because I think there's a lot of golden nuggets here to implement. And like I said, we want to keep this short. We want to just, dive into what exactly you can do to create yourself a better life and a more successful life. Really, that's what it is.
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to having more episodes with you in future, as we always do. And thank you so, so much for sharing your golden bombs or value bombs or whatever you want to call them, knowledge bombs with the audience. And you must have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joy. I appreciate it. Love to be here anytime.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.